On this week's episode is the third time's a charm for the Fantastic Beasts. We got a taste of Stranger Things Season 4, and we'd better call Saul to tell him the end is near. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the great folks at Vampires and Vitae.
Oh, man.
Yes, oh man, indeed. Plus, also as well, the great folks at popculturecosmos.com, the awesome folks at, of course, one of the great things that she does out there as well, Warlocks and Whiskey. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe you should go give that a try as well. Plus, also letting you know that we are the number one tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. And if you go ahead and check out everything that we do on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, we are also the place to go for all the latest news and trends in pop culture. Right there at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. And if you can support all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. She is the mastermind, the evil mastermind of everything that she's doing for Vampires and Vitae. You got to go ahead and check out what she's doing today. Like I said, Warlocks and Whiskey. But Vampires and Vitae is the number one show that she does. And you can go ahead and check that out on Pop Culture Cosmos or Vampires and Vitae, wherever you get your podcasts. It is my good friend. It is Melinda Barkhouse Ross. And Melinda, great to have you here.
Good to be back.
Little late night PCC Multiverse action for us, but there's a lot of good stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Tons and tons of stuff. And we were happy to have Vampires and Vitae back around the table this past Sunday for the live stream. That was great. We were down 2 of our players. Margie was taking part in the Celtic game, so she was out throwing telephone poles around, as you casually do on a Sunday.
Watch out!
Right? And Roger was feeling a little under the weather, so he, took a week off. So we plan to be back to the mostly full cast. I think we're still without Margie this coming Sunday, but we're getting closer to getting the gang back together. Gosh darn it!
But you still gotta stay tuned because each and every week there's a great new adventure in store for you at Vampires and Vitae. I know the gang, once they get all together and she stops throwing telephone poles, I know you got a lot in store for her and the crew. I know Rob, your husband in crime, also is going to go ahead and plan this out carefully as far as where your group is going to go. So looking forward to hearing and seeing more adventures with the Vampires and Vitae. But for this week, we got a lot on tap, including Fantastic Beasts, the third rendition of the Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, is out this weekend at theaters. We'll talk about, are we getting declining returns when it comes to the Fantastic Beasts? And will it actually complete the 5-movie mission that was originally intended for Fantastic Beasts? We'll talk about that coming up on the show. Stranger Things are abound as season 4 is on the way in the not too distant future. And they finally dropped a full-fledged season 4 trailer this week from Netflix. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. Some interesting things if you're a D&D fan, as Melinda pointed out. So we'll talk about that coming up in a bit. Better Call Saul, that's coming up on the back end of the show because that's in its final season, season 6. And the thing with that is that it is maybe the last tie-in to Breaking Bad, all the characters that you know and love from that series. Plus also as well, you'll be getting some surprise returns in store for you if you catch this last season of Better Call Saul. So we'll talk about that on the back end of the show. Plus also as well, you've got Jeff Sloboda from the MCU's Bleeding Edge. He is going to talk to me about Moon Knight episode 3 and what hope will be the future for the series. Did you get a chance to check out episode 3 for Moon Knight?
Yeah, so I had a little bit of catching up to do. What I like to do is I like to go back to the previous week's episode and then watch the new one.
Okay.
But so we had to rewind back to season 1, back to episode 1, so we watched that again, then we watched episode 2, and I think we got about halfway, I think, through episode 3 before just we were just exhausted and fell asleep. But, man, I'm enjoying this series.
That's good. That's good to hear. I know a lot of people are as well, outside of Oscar Isaac, who is carrying a great bit of the burden when it comes to what's going on in Moon Knight. I think he's doing a pretty good job. I know a lot of people are having issue with the accent, especially if you're overseas. And big shout out to all of our overseas radio stations and also our consumers that listen to us out there. Big shout out to you. If you do have a problem with it, because it's, obviously it may not be as authentic as you'd like it to be. I still think that Oscar Isaac gets a lot of kudos for the attempt to go ahead and try and provide different personas. But I talk about that with Jeff, but I'm so happy that you're enjoying it. I know the MCU has been a great source of up and down things for all of us here in the past 2 years when it comes to the television shows. So I'm really glad that you're able to connect with this show so far. And one more thing I want to go ahead before we head on to the show, and that we remind everybody that the Warner Discovery merger is now final, is now
Oh,
set in place. They had a big hullabaloo earlier today in
right,
regards to a presentation with Oprah Winfrey and the head of Warner Brothers Discovery and all that 9 yard stuff. He's talked about the future, what's going on. Everybody's talking about Discovery Plus and HBO Max. What are they going to call it now that they're all merged and are going to be all one happy family? But the latest thing that came out of it came from Variety and IGN and Deadline talking of the DC universe. So we'll talk about that coming up on the show as well.
hmm,
But first, my friend, it is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Do you know the secrets of Dumbledore? I don't. And I don't think anybody else really does, because the fact that they have lost all their secrets, especially after the last previous installment, and they lost a lot of momentum as far as the overall Harry Potter thing is concerned. I don't think you can blame it all on J.K. Rowling's comments, but I know a great bit of it can be tied to it.
sure.
Your thoughts on where we stand with Fantastic Beasts and this whole thing going on as we head into the weekend? It is expected to do right around $50 million, maybe 150 million worldwide at best. And that would be a big win if that's the case, because that would be near what the other two had made. But I'm
Right.
not counting on it, because I know there's a lot of declining returns and a lot of people that are still not liking what they're seeing from the Fantastic Beasts.
And perhaps this is controversial, and I
Mhm.
apologize to those Potterheads out there, but I really like the Fantastic Beasts movies. I
I like the
really like
first
them.
one.
No, I even enjoyed the second one. I was
Then
like,
you
"This
are a
is"
brave soul.
yeah, I was like, "This is a" it was to me, it was just a fun movie. I don't know why, I just liked it. Maybe it's because we got to see yeah, I don't you know what? I'm not even sure. I enjoy the movies. I'm not gonna go to theaters, to see the one this week. I'll wait till it comes to, a streaming service near you, but, I've really enjoyed them. I think they're great movies.
I mean, I'm not a Harry Potter person. I've seen all the movies,
Yeah,
and but I'm not a huge Harry Potter head. I
yeah,
know my girls were really into it until the statements made by J.K. Rowling. I know they still have a good time when they go to Universal Studios and all that, but when it comes to the actual momentum that this series has, it kind of died with the second one, because you were one of the few people that I've ever come across that actually enjoyed it, because
yeah,
I did not enjoy it. I'll just be quite honest with you.
yeah.
I know I said it on this show several years ago when it came out.
Right,
Now I understand with Johnny Depp, he's been taken out of the picture entirely. They brought Mads Mikkelsen in to play that character. Johnny Depp in his trial with Amber Heard that's going on right now, that divorce hearing and all that stuff. And yeah, that's $100 million, I guess. And as far as what's going on with the contested and all that 9 yard stuff, that's another picture entirely. So I don't even want to go ahead into that. But I know that brought a lot of controversy to Fantastic Beasts that he was playing around that time when those allegations first started coming to light. And then I know they got rid of him. I know that with you see as far as the guy who's playing the Flash, he has had a lot of controversy as of late. With what we talked about on the what we talked about with the on the previous show on Pop Culture Cosmos with what's going on with all the controversy there with what his future is going to be. So we don't even know because of Ezra Miller's controversial things that he's done. He's gotten in trouble twice with the law since then, and he's actually a part of Fantastic Beasts as well. So it's becoming very sticky right now for Warner Brothers. It's not gotten the kind of money. It's kind of declining returns, as I stated before, with each and every episode that has come out. And this is supposed to be a 5-chapter movie series for Fantastic Beasts. Do you think it will actually complete that 5-chapter series? I think it will, just for the fact that they'll just can always go ahead and stick it on HBO Max or whatever they're
Yeah,
going to call it here
that's
after the
exactly
merger's
where I
done.
was going too, yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it'll actually end up being the 5?
Yeah, I think they will do the 5, and I think that, my theory is, we're gonna see 1 more go to theater, and the 5th one will just go straight to streaming, and I think that it's not gonna be a very long stint in theaters. I think they'll put it out, hopefully make a big splash the first couple of weeks, and then they'll pull it and put it onto streaming. They may even do, some of the, same day, streaming and movie theater things. They may try that hopefully to get more eyeballs on those movies. But I think they will fulfill all 5. I just think they're not going to get fulfilled in the way that they expected it to with all of the fanfare and all that good stuff.
I agree with you on that. There's so much controversy, so much of
Yeah,
a cloud is hanging over this series now. I think that the only thing, and this was mentioned by another show that I was listening to, the Box Office Podcast, and I think this is the obvious, and I've said this before on this show, that if they were ever do a Cursed Child movie,
mhm,
on as far as bringing that back out, and all the original stars or the 3 main original stars come walking back out, or as I say, coming out of the minivan, coming from soccer practice to go ahead and
right.
save the world,
Yeah,
then I think will get people excited again in Harry Potter. I think that will get people excited into the whole Harry Potter type concept because they put in a good perspective on that show. And they said that, a lot of people when they were watching it were in their teens, early, late, just in their 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. Those people are now in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. They're sometimes, in some cases, if they watched a little bit later in their teens, they could be even in their 40s now. They've moved on with certain things and certain aspects.
yeah.
And Fantastic Beasts does not seem to be that kind of family event that the Harry Potter movies was. It doesn't seem to generate that kind of awe-inspiring. You got to bring the whole family to this event theater like the Harry Potter movies were in the past.
Absolutely. It's not about the kids anymore.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
it's
problem.
yeah, and that's exactly, that's a problem.
Mhm. That is a problem indeed. I
Oh,
don't see I don't
some
see great
groundbreaking stuff
returns.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
know.
sorry.
I know. I don't see great returns for Fantastic Beasts. Do you at this point in time?
No, probably not. But I like I said before, I do enjoy the movies and I will watch them. I'm not going to go to the movie theater to see it. I think there's other movies that I need to see in the theater that are not Harry Potter related. So I think I need to take care of those. And Harry Potter movies, I can wait until they come out on streaming. It's not a cultural event like it used to be, like going to the bookstore at midnight to get the next book when it came out and
Yeah.
dressing up as wizards to wait in line and all of that stuff. That's just not a thing that's happening anymore. So um I'm not saying that Harry Potter is over, but the Harry Potter fever, I think has been quenched.
And they've only got themselves to blame. They've only got themselves to blame on that for a product that they put out that was much less superior than the magic that Harry Potter, because they could still have done things differently that would have kept that kind of enthusiasm for
Yeah.
Harry Potter. And certainly, if a certain individual author wouldn't have said some things, maybe that would have not squelch it too. But again, that's another issue. That's, we don't want to go ahead on this show, but we don't want to go into that on this show. But I will say again that I don't see that the Fantastic Beasts are going in the right direction. I think that they will complete the 5 episode arc for the Fantastic Beasts just because they feel committed to. I
Yeah.
just don't think it's going to end up on a happy note for Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And, that's a risk that you run though, when you sign on with, a 5 movies to a series deal. If people start to lose interest, I think that that's part of the risk that you take, and it just didn't turn out in their favor this time.
Yeah, and I think that it will probably be something that they'll have to reevaluate. And I think that a movie version of The Cursed Child, I think, is the way that they're going to have to go. They're going to have to give Daniel Radcliffe back up the Brinks truck for Daniel Radcliffe and Emma
Oh
Watson.
Yep.
There you go. Even Rupert Grinch, even him too. I know everybody forgets about him, but you know what? You got to back up the Brinks truck, back up the Brinks truck for those three to get the Harry Potter universe back in style. I mean, the Harry Potter game, I know we talked about on the show that's coming out scheduled to come out later this year. That's been devastated as far as the anticipation and the interest into it by all the controversy that's been head off and the declining returns of Fantastic Beasts. So we have no idea how well or not well it will do, as opposed to being a slam dunk when they probably first put it into production. So hey, unfortunately, you reap what you sow, and right now they're sowing some things at Warner Brothers when it concerns Harry Potter and that universe that are not really that well done. We'll see what happens if they can go ahead and turn around now that Warner Brothers and Discovery are all one big happy family, but we'll see what happens there with the future of Harry Potter with Fantastic Beasts. But if you're going to check out Fantastic Beasts this Easter weekend, please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com, because we'd love to hear your thoughts. What's the future for Harry Potter after Fantastic Beasts? The Secrets of Dumbledore. Please let us know. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the break, 2 last things I want to go ahead and touch on with you. It's Melinda Barkhouse Ross and me, Gerald Glassford, here at the PCC Multiverse. Stranger Things, season 4 is
Oh,
very
man.
strange indeed. A lot of
Mm.
things going on. They brought out a trailer, which of course got everybody all up in arms, bringing out the classic 80s rock tune as far as with a little tweak here and a little tweak there as far as to try and modernize it, but still have the iconic voice. I don't even know if it was Steve Perry's actual voice or if it's the guy who sounds a lot like Steve Perry in the new version of Journey, but still darn good. But yes, first off, I will say that it is very, very interesting to see how they will end the series, just like some other series are going to be ending in the not too distant future as well, one of which we'll talk about on the back end of the show. This Is Us is another one, but I want to go ahead and hear your thoughts on Stranger Things season 4 and an arrival of a D&D legend
Oh,
could be in
man.
store for the
Oh,
crew.
man. You know who else is excited about what we now know about Stranger Things season 4?
And who would that
Joe
be?
Manganiello. Do you know why Joe Manganiello is excited about this?
Why could he? Why?
Because if you don't know, Joe Manganiello, he's one of us. He's a huge, huge
Of
geek. He
course.
plays D&D with Vince Vaughn and all the boys, and
Roger has gone into detail.
yeah. Yeah,
Great detail.
yeah.
Great,
Um,
great detail on our Monday
so
show.
Joe Manganiello was playing a game with, I don't know if it was the whole cast of Critical Role or if it was Matt Mercer and a couple of other people, or what was going on there, but they were all together around a table, and they were fighting a lich who calls himself Vecna. And Joe Manganiello's character took Vecna's arm, cut off his own arm, and replaced it with Vecna's arm. This is like a
Okay.
huge this and this has gone, like, down in, like, mind-blowing D&D game around tables. People talk about it in hushed whispers. It was a big deal when it happened. So, it's really cool that Vecna is coming to Stranger Things season 4. It's a huge deal.
I
He's the
just
big
say
bad this season, and it's wonderful.
I just telling you right now, you go Deathstroke. There you go. You go Deathstroke.
Right?
Absolutely. Just cut off your arm. Chop it off right there.
Yep.
Chop it off right there for you.
Yeah.
All right. But yes,
Yeah.
it is something that a lot of people are very intrigued about seeing Vecna. seeing what happened to all the characters, how they've grown up, going to high school, still dealing with the power, fact that she's lost her powers, seemingly,
Yes.
or she claims that halfway through. Millie Bobby Brown's character has lost her powers. But, people are concerned there. What's going on with William Hargrove? And you hear words on Victor Creel, and of course, again, like you said, all about Vecna. Oh, some good times coming. See, I'll tell you what, this series is going to go out with a bang. I
Yeah.
had concerns before in the series about where it was going to go and were you going to keep up that quality, but I don't have any concerns anymore. Stranger Things is going to get a lot of people talking. It is still Netflix's foundational show. I think even all these years later, it does not have to depend on, it's not life or death with Stranger Things on the future of how that network goes anymore,
Right.
or the streaming outlet. But I still think that a lot of positivity and a lot of influence still belongs in the hands of Stranger Things.
Yeah. I agree with that for sure.
What are your thoughts out there on Stranger Things season 4 as they dropped the trailer for this week? Oh my gosh, it was a humdinger for me, and I know Melinda loved it as well. So, a lot of scary things are in store for us with Stranger Things season 4. But please, we want to hear your thoughts. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, I sectioned off this last part of the half hour for the Warner Brothers Discovery merger because that is finalized. They're now one big happy family. All is well and good. Like I talked about earlier, they have the head of this whole division or this whole conglomerate talking with Oprah on the future, and everything's grandiose and everything's wonderful until you see your bill for the price that's going to go up
Yeah.
because you just added a lot more discovery
Stuff.
and reality TV and cooking shows and home
Yep.
improvement shows and all the stuff that you probably were used to on Discovery Plus. Well, that's now going to be as far as whatever they call this HBO Max Discovery deal, whatever they ended up calling it. But one of the things that was interesting was the things that were brought up and the rumors and speculation that were brought up by both Variety and Deadline. And if
Yeah.
Variety and Deadline brings it up, it's usually something that's got to be close to a fact as possible because they usually have really good sources within the confines of whatever it is that they're researching. And they both have confirmed that there's some real talk about reshaping the DCEU, about how they really like are trending, really like projects like the Joker. No, duh. Yes, it made over $1 billion.
Right.
Wouldn't
Right.
everybody like to go ahead and just,
Yeah.
gravitates towards that? And they talked about having a Kevin Feige like leader that's either going to run it from a business or creative, one or the other standpoint. I think that Kevin Feige also runs it from both a creative and a business standpoint. So I think you can't disassociate one from the other. They were
Yeah.
trying to, but you can't disassociate one from the other. I think that's great. I think this is something that they should have had in place. Even if they did have in place, they weren't doing a great job of it a long time ago to try and smooth everything out. I always make to you or say on this show to either you or Josh about the old thing that I like to say. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of Kevin Feige's office with the whiteboard, and it's how nice, neat, straight line with a timeline, and you have just branching out
Oh,
softly of all the
yes.
different projects right there. And then you go to DC or whoever's running the DC today, as far as that end of it, and you go in there and it's all like all erased and it's all scratched out. It's like, no, 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 can't have this. No, no, this goes. Or then you got like all branching out like in 15 different
Yes.
directions in the wrong
There's
way.
some accidental permanent marker in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. It is like, well, this is kind of tied to each other, but maybe not, but sort of, kind of. And then, yeah. So, I mean, it's just so interesting to see how they've come to realize that maybe they do need one central figure to go ahead and plan this all out. Your thoughts on this? Because seemingly this is something that they've needed, or someone that could do the job as well as needed. Because, yes, we would all love if we were running DC a, a Joker like hit every single time.
Right.
But in order to do so, you got to go ahead and build it up over a course of time. And when you have a property like DC, you need to go ahead and do it properly and not have everything all over the place. Like I've said for years, you need to have it all nicely put together.
Yes. And I think that, the whoever it was that decided to cast Christian Bale as the Batman, and, whoever the people were who were involved in all of the decision making when it came to those 3 movies, I think that those might be the people for them to kind of look to at least understand, you know, bringing a
Whoever
story
Christopher Nolan was working with at that time.
yeah, like whoever that was, whoever those mystery people were, behind Nolan, when all of that stuff was starting to come together. I think that you may want to start by talking to those people, and then, have a few creative meetings and see if you can unwind the ball of yarn that DC has right now. And if not, then you need to throw out that ball of yarn and you need to start from scratch, and you need to have a lot of big idea people in the room, and then you need to have a lot of people who are able to take those big ideas and break them down into manageable bite-sized pieces, and then I think that DC will be able to move forward. I'm just trying to say I'm being optimistic about it.
Well, you hit it right in the head. That was a great summation right there. That's a
Yeah.
great way to look at it because that was when DC was really hitting it right, and Marvel was not around that
Right.
time. I just
Yeah.
watched Batman. In fact, ironically, I just watched Batman Begins 2 days ago as
Yeah.
a reminder of how good
So
things
good.
were. And to me,
Yeah.
it's such an underrated film
Oh,
because obviously what came after it, but Liam Neeson being put in that role, and just
yes.
Ken Watanabe is in there, and some really good casting. I think obviously Michael Caine and Christian Bale, like you said, it just the cast as well. Now, obviously, you're getting some really good people in there. As far as it's concerned, I think that was really well done. And then setting it up for the future, setting up
Yes.
for the future was really something that we really needed to do to set up for future. We won't talk about Katie Holmes. That part of it, I'm sorry. She's smirking. She's got her face like this half the time.
This is such
Yeah, I think that's probably why they brought in Maggie Gyllenhaal, who they should have brought in the first place,
yeah.
because she was tremendous in The Dark Knight. But outside of that, I mean, there was really Gary Oldman playing Jim Gordon, just
Yeah.
just truly a sensational cast that
Yeah.
was able to transcend all three of those movies, even The Dark Knight Rises, which maybe is a little bit too long, maybe has its issues, but still, it's a pretty good movie as far as superhero movies go. But we all know about The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger killed it. It's best Joker. I think that you could live up to, even with even with Joaquin Phoenix's Joker being outstanding and Academy Award winner in and of itself. I mean, Heath Ledger did an outstanding job. That's just a humongous role that he did, a humongous a great job that he did as well. So I mean, the way you hit it on the head with that, finding out what went right there and being able to apply that on a basis of what you see here, because it seems like, okay, they have a miss, they have a hit, they have a miss, they have a hit, they have a miss, hit, miss. It's just very
Yeah.
uneven what's
Yeah.
going on as the DCU, plus the fact you have all that CW stuff you've got going on there. You've got to actually sit down and say, is it worth it to keep extending that? Because the actual amount of people that watch that on broadcast television, is it worth it to sustain going on there, or do you move all those DC shows onto the HBO Max platform, or whatever there is they're going to call it? I mean, major decisions like that going forward. The movies themselves, do you want to bring out the Shazam movies that didn't do well for you before? Well, you already committed to doing it, and then you've got Black Adam, which you have high hopes for, which probably will do well at the box office behind The Power of the Rock. What's the future for that? How does it tie into not just the Shazam movie, but the other movies as well? How does the Joker and the Batman, seemingly in their own different time frames, how does that work out? You better hope this Flashpoint with Ezra Miller, who may not even stay as the Flash, as we discussed, where that's going to take it and how that's going to go ahead and meld all these things together. It better do the job. There's so much pressure on the Flashpoint to go ahead and be that, like, one big erase board, to go to that whiteboard in that room of the DC president, and just be able to clean things up. Just
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be a big job. I don't envy the person who has to do that, but, my goodness, I think that you
You're talking
really
about cleaning up 10 years of
yeah, of
movies.
of meandering ideas,
Yeah.
you know, and like, and now that you have this great model with the Marvel movies, if you do decide to, you know, kick everything that they've done to the curb, and start fresh, start with a brand new Batman who's the right age, who you can see grow in his role as Batman, get all the way up. Like, let's see Batman age with the same actor. Like, let's really have somebody who can just, you know, is okay with being Batman, and you know, isn't in 5 years going to be sick and tired of being Batman, and you know, you hear all of that kind of stuff.
And go
Find
run and get engaged to J-Lo.
right, yeah, please. I mean, let's not do that. I mean, isn't everybody been engaged to J Lo at this point? I'm
I'm
kidding.
not going to say that.
I'm kidding. That was mean and it was nasty, and I'm glad that they're happy. I'm taking it all back and putting it back in my mouth. But
Well, that's okay. It'll sound better in post production.
yeah. But really, it really is an exciting time, and I'm hopeful for DC. I've always kind of been pulling for them, and I think that they have a few of the right puzzle pieces. They just don't have the clear picture that they need quite yet. And I'm hoping that this is going to be the thing that's going to bring everything into focus, and help us, you know, leave those breadcrumbs through various movies. So you can go back and you can be like, oh my God, that guy was in the background of that scene. I can't believe it. Stuff like that. I love that stuff.
Very well said indeed. But if you have thoughts on the future of DC that most likely will be changing because of the merger with Warner Brothers and Discovery, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. And please let us know what direction you would love to see for the DCEU, because we do want it to succeed. We do want it to make sense. We do want it to be worth our time. If we're going to be seeing all these DC movies that you plan to throw in front of us, they should start making sense, and they should it should lead to something instead of just be all standalone movies. It should not be all standalone movies. It should all lead to something. It should reward you like Marvel has for sticking through them for over a decade. So please let us know your thoughts on the DC possibilities in this Warner Discovery merger. Popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, coming up next, it's Jeff Sabota from the MCU's Bleeding Edge. He's going to be talking some Marvel with Moon Knight Episode 3. And after that, Melinda and I will be closing out the show, talking about the end of Better Call Saul, and maybe more after that as well. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the show. It's the PCC Multiverse. It's Gerald Glassford along with the goddess of vampires and Vitae. I'm trying to think of all these words, one after
Undersell,
another.
undersell so I can over deliver. The
No, no.
painfully average Melinda. Like, that sounds perfect.
The painfully average. No, I can't say that. No. It's the goddess
Yeah.
of
Man.
vampires and Vitae. It is Melinda Barkhouse Ross. But before we head on out, I do want to remind you that we are the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. Please catch our games each and every week. I know Mitch is running some great stuff. Hopefully, he'll be doing that this Easter weekend. Plus, also as well, Roger with the Demolition Force. My gosh, he tortures us each and every Monday. I know that Melinda wasn't there for this latest episode, but I was. So you got to go ahead and check that out. So that was a hoot while I was there. So truly appreciate the time, and check us out every Monday there. But also, Melinda, Rob, they have their games, Vampires and Vitae, every Sunday. Check it out. Plus everything that they do during the week when they can. So please, we're the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. So please support us there. Plus the latest news and trends in pop culture. We put all the latest items right there on Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. So you get it all in one place. Right there at Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. But before we head on out, Melinda, ring, ring, ring. Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
The end is near as the
Yes.
first episode of the last season, season 6 for Better Call Saul, is coming to an end. It's got the last episodes, or the season actually, as it were, is going to start debuting episodes. I think in 2 different segments. They're partitioning it off at one grouping of episodes, then another grouping of episodes. They're trying to go ahead and stretch things out. It's a new Hollywood thing where they try to stretch things out over the course of time for shows that are coming to an end. And this one will be coming to an end. I think that people are very satisfied with what they've seen so far because it's continued the
Mm.
very strong goodness that is the world of Breaking Bad and the universe that in, but that it's in the universe that it's in. But I think that the word that we're going to get some returnees. We've seen some characters from the Breaking Bad universe already come and go in this series already, and actually have in some cases a very long stay in this series. Saul himself, Saul Goodman, is from the Breaking Bad series. So your thoughts about what you hope to see coming up in season 6 of Better Call Saul?
Well, what I had hoped to see in season 6 has been confirmed about
Yes, it
season
has.
6. Yes.
That's
Do
what
we
I
do we
was
talk about
hinting.
that, or is that, like, spoiler town and we don't wanna do that?
No, no, that because that's been public out there. The
In
producers
public?
said,
Okay.
yeah, they
Yep.
said you would be getting a special scenes or two with special guest arrivals from the stars of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
So you're going to see Walt, and you're going to be seeing Jesse, and those two are coming back onto the screen at some form or fashion. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what way or what fashion. They're going to wait until the very end. I don't know if they're going to play a part in extended episodes, what have you, but we are going to get a return of those two characters. I know a lot of people are excited for that because, quite frankly, even if you're not a fan, you've got to respect that Breaking Bad is one of the most critically hailed television shows of all
oh,
time.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to go down in history as one of the top shows period of all time. I love Severance to death, and think it's got a long way to go to get there. It's got one of the best seasons ever made, I think,
Right.
in history. But to become one of the best shows, you need to keep on doing it consistently year in year in year out, and that's what Better Breaking Bad has done. And now Better Call Saul is not too bad, not too bad. It's not fallen far from the tree. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this year as well.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that at least one pizza ends up on a roof before it all is over. I
Oh,
hope I hope we
of
get
all the
that one
things
more
you
time.
remember.
I know. But I mean, that it was pretty great.
Yes, it was. It was. So I'm
I hope
really
we get
curious.
that one more time.
I just love the fact that they portray a dark underworld so well,
Yeah,
and just so many great actors have been a part of it, and they eat it up each time everyone comes on screen. It just seems like, okay, what are you going to do now to go ahead and up the ante? And it seems like every single time that they do it, it really does. Giancarlo Esposito, excellent every time he goes on there. It just, yeah, just the list goes on and on every time we go ahead and check out a new year, a new season of Better Call Saul. But it's all coming to an end. And the thing I ask is, AMC is probably not thrilled that this is ending because it's been a ratings winner, of course.
right.
Not quite the Breaking Bad numbers when all is said and done, but where does this universe go, or can this universe extend beyond the ending of Better Call Saul?
Yeah, I'm just not sure how we're going to, continue to explore that universe. I'm not.
You can't keep on going back in time
Yeah, and you can't. I'm not sure, like, which other character you would want to, like, wrap an entire series around as
because this
well.
is a prequel. Because
Yeah,
in essence, this is a prequel to the events of Breaking Bad. So
right.
you can only go so far, so back. But to tie into Breaking Bad would be just a name value, would be great for AMC to have something that they could latch onto just
Yeah.
for that name only.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I don't know, like, are we too far out of Breaking Bad to have another spinoff at this point? Or would it just feel like a Better Call Saul break off at this point?
That's the thing. Where
Oh.
could it go? Where could it go from here?
Oh, Robbie has hot takes. Do you wanna hear from
Yeah,
Robbie?
absolutely.
Not a
Alright,
bad
yeah,
one. It's
okay,
not
come
a
on
bad
in.
one.
Come on in.
Melinda's husband,
Hang
Robbie, is now joining us on the show. Glad to hear from you, my
on.
friend. Great to see you. Before,
First of all, I'm digging on the beard. Really
there
looks
you
good on
go.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
looks great.
First things first.
Yep. Second of all, interesting hot take. Not a political hot take, but Elon Musk. You guys talk about the Twitter acquisition yet?
Well,
No.
he's made a hostile takeover attempt, so it
Yes.
still has to be approved. It still has to be thought about, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $54 billion.
Yeah. So I have a funny thing
Oh gosh.
that I think is why he's doing it, because I can see Elon Musk actually doing this exact thing for such a petty reason. Do you know that on Twitter, there's a man that tracks his plane,
Oh god.
Yes.
and he cannot shut this down. There's no legal way for him to shut it down. I truly believe the only reason Elon Musk is acquiring Twitter is to shut down this guy that won't do it. Like, he's like, it's not a hostile takeover. This is a hostage takeover. He's like going to destroy
But couldn't
this.
that guy go do that? Couldn't the guy move it over to Instagram or Facebook?
Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I just think it's funny. Like, could you imagine having that much money? He's like, this guy, he just won't stop tracking my. I'm gonna buy the entire company.
He's
won't be
worth
able to
over He's reportedly worth over $250 billion. So
Man.
Mhm.
you
I
can
mean,
make
that
those.
would work it to me, right? If you were Elon Musk and you really didn't have anything to spend your money on other than going to Mars, which is a truth. Like, like he's like, I just want to check out Mars. Like, yeah, you buy Twitter because this guy's annoying you and he won't stop.
Well, think of it like when you're going to the grocery store and you get close to the checkout aisle and you're right there, the next person in line, you're the next person in line to go ahead and get rung up. And you've got right next to you all the gum, all the candy, all those impulse buys.
Right?
There you go. For him, Twitter is an impulse buy. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. So he's
Must
just
be
like,
nice.
yeah, screw this guy. I want him to stop tracking my plane. I'm going to buy your company. Incredible.
Or he could just hire the kid.
Which would have been the most, because the kid's asking for $50,000, right? He says, for $50,000, I'll stop doing this and I'll walk away and there'll be no problem. But it's way cooler just to buy the company. If you're Elon Musk, you're like, no, like, I'm not going to pay you $50,000. I should hire you. Like, obviously, the kid's smart. I mean, he's a brilliant kid. I mean, we're talking about him right now, and he's just some random guy that figured out how to track planes. Like, there's obviously some investment potential into the actual individual, but way more Elon Musk. I buy Twitter.
There you go. Only
That's
he can
my
do that.
take.
Must be nice. Must be nice indeed. But
Sorry.
Spontaneous hot take with Robbie Ross.
I had
there you
to.
go.
All right.
I was laughing by myself in the garage, and there was no one to share that
Oh
with.
my god.
Love you,
All
Jared.
right.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. No, you're always welcome to interrupt. Always welcome to interject, especially when it comes to Warhammer.
So back to
All
Better
right.
Call Saul.
Yes. All I say is Better Call Saul season 6. It's something I
Right.
think a lot of people will enjoy. I think
Yes.
it's going to bring a lot of fond memories. Like you said, really, where can they go to extend the Breaking Bad universe? I don't think it's beginning to look like they can. I don't think that they can. Maybe they'll find a way with AMC. They're going to try hard, but I'm not sure where they can go from here because, again, they're already going back in time. You really can't go forward in time because that story is already ended, that part of it. So I don't know. There's really nowhere else to go from here. But again, it closes down one of the biggest chapters or the best chapters, the most critically acclaimed chapters in television history.
Absolutely. And and they're ending it correctly by bringing Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul in and having them part of the final season. I think that that's just the correct move and the way to thank your fans for sticking with them through this spinoff.
Absolutely. So if you have any thoughts on the final season of Better Call Saul, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode. As always, I know you and I will be at NAB later this month.
Yes.
Looking forward to
excited.
that. But any last thoughts before we head on out?
Yes. Watch Stranger Things and learn all about Vecna. He's going to be such a wonderful villain. He's such a great bad guy, and I'm very excited for this season. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. I tell you, I'm now really excited. Not this excited in a long time for Stranger Things, but yes, I'm definitely looking forward, especially to this season. But we'll be seeing the last of this season of Stranger Things. So for Melinda Barkhouse Ross, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great